All right. Let's see here. Um, this is the first time I've ever done this. Welcome, everyone. Um, I have a little bit of a lineup. So, what I'm going to do is, let's see. Okay, I got live chat, all messages are. Ooh, I can do black and white. Whoa, look at all these colors. Whoa, look at that. It's a little bit, oh, I like that one. That looks good. I don't look stupid at all. All right. So, uh, sorry, my phone went off. Um, so again, this is my first attempt at a live stream. I look so dumb. Let's see. My phone keeps reconnecting, so sorry if it buffers a lot. So I've got a few things. I'm going to try and do like a quote of the day. I'm going to try this day in history. So, things like what happened on this day. That's always interesting to hear about. Um, Maybe a joke. Uh, just simple stuff. So I'm gonna just kind of see how this all works. And again, this is my first stream, so I'm not sure how it works here. Let's see if I can share. Let's see here. Okay. Well, let's see if I can try and figure out something here. Let's go. Phone keeps reconnecting. All right. So let's start off here. I'll start the whole thing off. Let's see here. All right. What I'll do is I'll start out with the history portion because that's always important. January 25th, in 1533, Henry VIII marries Anne Boleyn. Hello, just got to say thanks for watching and chunga 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 chunga. All right. So in 1533, Henry VIII marries Anne Boleyn, small farmer in Massachusetts, led by Daniel Shays. Revolt against tax laws. Smart dudes right there, man. Revolt against tax laws. Hey, sorry if I keep buffering. I'm just on a cell phone connection. So let's see here. Small farmers in Springfield, Massachusetts, led by Daniel Shays. Revolt against Shays Rebellion happened today in 1787. Here's a scary one. 1846, the dreaded Corn Laws. By always good to repeal some taxes. In 1904, 200 coal miners are pleasantly trapped in their Pennsylvania coal mine after an explosion. That's so wonderful. Good to hear. Good to hear. Alexander in 1915, January 25th. Alexander Graham Bell in New York and Thomas Watson in San Francisco make a record telephone transmission. So that's pretty cool. They set the record. Now you can just call anybody. So those guys are pretty lame. Uh, in Austria and Germany in 1918, Austria and Germany reject U.S. peace proposals. So those guys are pretty dumb. Um, in 1919, the League of Nations plans are adopted by the Allies. Not a good thing. So basically, that's the precursor to the UN, which is a cancerous bureaucracy. Um, in 1929, members of New York Stock Exchange asked for additional 275 seats. So basically, these guys just didn't have enough seats. There's not enough places to sit in the stock exchange. I understand it's not comfortable to just be on your feet all day. Um, I don't know why they couldn't afford more chairs, but in 1930, New York police rout a communist rally at town hall. That's good. You never want communists in your town hall. That's always cancer. Um, I say that the New York police in 1930 were justified because we've seen the effects of communism. 1943, the last German airfield in Stalingrad is captured by the Red Army. Wow, how exciting. In 1949, Alexis Sally, who broadcast Nazi propaganda to U.S. troops in Europe, stands trial in the United States for her war crimes. Wow, how great! It's good to see. It's good to see. People. Fighting against Nazis. Too bad our guys these days are freaking 60 years late, 70 years late. Anyways, 1951, the U.S. 8th Army in Korea launches an Operation Thunderbolt, a counterattack which pushes the Chinese army north of the River Han. So that's good. You don't ever want the Chinese invading the River Han. I know I don't. So, in 1956, January 25th, Khrushchev says that Eisenhower is sincere in his efforts to abolish war. Sounds good. I don't believe that at all, but whatever. Yeah, yeah. You don't want a bunch of Red Army guys, Red Chinese crossing your river. Let's skip ahead because there's a bunch of well, I don't know. It just seems like there's so much stuff. Oh, there's not that much stuff. Okay. Moving ahead. Here's some. Yeah, build a wall on the river. Shirley Chisholm is the first African American woman elected to U.S. Congress, and she announces her candidacy for president. So, in 1972, our first black congressperson was elected. Also in 1972, President Nixon airs 8-point speech plan for Vietnam, asking for POWs to be released in return for withdrawal from Vietnam. Seems reasonable. I'm still on the fence about the whole Vietnam conflict. I don't think it was a necessary thing. But when you got communists everywhere, it's kind of hard to keep your cool. 1984. What a surprising year. President Reagan endorses the development of the first U.S. parliamentary thing in 1984. Wow. Well, that's everything today in history. Robert Burns in 1759 in Scotland is born. He's a poet. He created the song Old Lang Syne, Through to Rye. 1882, Virginia Woolf is an English author. She was born. She wrote Miss Dalloway and Orlando. And in 1933, Corazon Aquino is the president of the Philippines. Wow. So that's pretty exciting, guys. Wow. Let's give it up for history. Let's all celebrate our past and try and move as far away from it as we can. So, okay, yeah. So now I'm going to move into a famous quote. So I've got my favorite book here, one of my favorite books. Slow cut, yeah. So this is a book called Prospero Burns. I'm not sure if it shows up for you. Probably it's backwards, but basically it's about space Vikings. It's about a guy who is he's like an academic in the future, and he is mysteriously possessed into going and living amongst a bunch of crazed wolfmen, Viking super soldiers in outer space on a death world. Basically, straight up goes to Valhalla, and that guy right there is the dude I named my YouTube channel after. His name is Lehman Roos. Lehman Roos. He's basically a demigod, but this book isn't really about him or actually the burning of Prospero and the whole Warhammer 30K thing. It's more about the personal struggles the academic Casper Hosser, kind of what he goes through, and it actually these Space Wolf guys end up embracing him. So they're really superstitious of magic, and in this universe, there's like sorcery and all sorts of crap. But they, instead of killing him outright, they use him as sort of a. They know he's probably a spy, and they keep him hanging around. And they eventually befriend him. He shows his qualities as a good person. They do not kill him, and they eventually embrace him. He becomes one of their storytellers. So after they go on campaigns, they come back and they have these big sort of like Viking feasts, and he's sort of embraced as their storyteller. So because he was an academic in this future timeline, he's got eidetic memory implants and all sorts of stuff. Helps him remember the stories that these guys tell him. So, but it's a unseen forces and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of that in here, and so mix H.P. Lovecraft with freaking Gears of War and the TV show Vikings, and add in a little bit of something else. It's basically an amalgamation of those things. So it's a really touching book. A lot of people hate it, actually, because they read the title Prospero Burns, and in the Warhammer universe, the burning of Prospero is a really big deal that happens. It's a really famous thing where the Thousand Sons, who are the home legion of Prospero, their whole planet sacked and are basically wiped out of existence, except for like 1,000 of them. They escape into some weird dimension, but the Space Wolves are the legion that destroys their planet, and it's this big ordeal. And I think they got upset with the final product because it's not all about the battle itself. It's more about Casper Hauser, who's the guy who's if I'm buffering or not. There you guys are. I couldn't see your thing, but sorry, my connection keeps going out. They're basically 7 tall Vikings with giant fangs and lots of beards and axes and in power. My stream keeps cutting out. Sorry, guys. It's my favorite Shakespeare quote. So I'm going to read it here. Hopefully the okay, there you guys are. Okay, I'm going to read this quote here. Take but degree away, untune that string, and hark, what discord follows. Each thing meets in mere oppugnancy. The bounded waters should be lifted from their bosoms, higher than the shores, and make a sop of all this solid globe. Strength should become the lord of imbecility, and the rude son should strike his father dead. Force should be right, or rather, right and wrong, between whose endless jar justice resides. Should lose their names, and so should justice too. Then everything includes itself in power. Power into will, will into appetite, and appetite, a universal wolf, so doubly seconded with will and power, must make perforce a universal prey, and at last eat up himself. So that's a Shakespeare quote that's in the beginning of this book. It's a really good quote. It has a lot to do with too many people seeking power and become corrupt inevitably, and they forget their morals, they forget justice, and it becomes a travesty. It becomes the state abuses people when there's too much state. Is basically what the too many cooks in the kitchen with regards to power. Power corrupts ultimately, and everything becomes about power and power dynamics, and that's kind of the whole thing. It's my favorite quote. It's a really powerful thing, and it sort of shaped my political understandings. So, sorry, my daughter's a little upset in the background. You probably hear her. My wife's taking care of her. So here's some news. Let's see here. I got two news stories that are kind of weird. Anybody excited for news? Wow, news. So let's see here. The first story we have is from New Jersey. Anybody here from New Jersey? Wow, New Jersey. What a great place. So yeah, there's a 10-year-old boy in New Jersey becomes the youngest person to bowl a perfect game. Wow. Congratulations. Let's give it up for 10-year-old bowling boy. Wow. Good job. January 25th, a New Jersey 10-year-old has become the second youngest. Wow, they deceived me. Become the second youngest person to bowl a perfect 300 at a bowling alley in the United States. Man. Let's see here. Kai Struthers. What's up with these names? Kai Struthers, who first showed his interest in bowling at only 18 months old, rolled a perfect 300 score on Saturday in Linden Bowling Alley in New Jersey. So you're telling me that a 18-month-old was just like, Mommy, Daddy, I want to go bowl. And then that led to this 10-year-old just bowling a score that I could never hope to achieve in bowling. So here's a quote. Once he got to the 9th frame, he threw the strike. I had to walk away because I didn't want him to get nervous. I didn't want him to see my emotion because my stomach was in knots, his mother said. Oh, my baby's crying. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Be right back. All right. So let's see here. A hawk in Brooklyn stops traffic at a busy intersection. Wow, guys. Let's give it up for the hawk. All right, so geez. So apparently, okay, there's one person. Apparently the stream's buffering a lot. Sorry, guys. All right, a hawk caused traffic headaches in New York. Traffic headaches in New York. Wow, what a surprise. When it landed in the middle of a busy intersection and attracted a crowd of onlookers. That's just the smartest thing to do, is to go crowd around a busy intersection in the middle of New York, in Brooklyn, to look at a bird that landed in the road. That's great. Witnesses said the hawk landed at about 6 p.m. On Wednesday in the middle of a busy intersection in the Williamsburg, that explains it, in Williamsburg neighborhood of Brooklyn. If you've seen Sam Hyde's video where he goes to Williamsburg in New York, it pretty much tells you everything you ever need to know about this location, Williamsburg. Oh man, no wonder a bunch of 100 people stood around this bird in the middle of the road and blocked traffic. Let's see here. Nobody thought to grab a pair of gloves and pick the bird up and put it on the sidewalk. Probably get a fine for that in New York. You probably end up like getting some sort of weird fine for it. Witnesses say the hawk landed at about 6 p.m. Wednesday in the middle of a busy intersection in Williamsburg neighborhood of Brooklyn, causing traffic to slow as cars carefully worked their way on the bird of prey. A crowd of 100 onlookers gathered and watched the hawk experience apparent trouble flying away from the scene. So apparently the hawk was like, "Oh no, there's cars. I'm a bird in the middle of a street. There's cars all around me. Help." The New York Police Department responded to the scene, and the officers were able to coax the hawk into a cage so it could be taken to a veterinarian for examination. Wow, that's a great story. That's the kind of stuff we're interested in here, is just good, lighthearted stories here, folks. There's nothing in the world going on that's wrong. Nothing's happening. Everything's okay. Just we'll keep our heads in the sand and focus on the important things, like drinking a glass of water. So yeah, I had shaved my beard, not on purpose. My barber messed up my beard, so I keep. Sorry, guys, I keep buffering. My beard will grow back, though. It doesn't take very long for me to grow a beard. One here that I've been working on. This is a WBP Fox. It's a Polish AK. I've been doing a few things to it. We've been reviewing this. They've been doing a 5,000 round test, and what I've seen is that there is wear happening on the bolt carrier tail. So that little piece right there that interacts with your hammer. So what I've decided to do is I had a DI hammer forged gun that was just an unfinished, basically set of parts. Okay, there's the chat. Read the chat more. Is there nobody? Somebody's saying read the chat more, but I'm not getting anything new from the chat. So got 3 people watching. Hey, that's great from the first one. So they've discovered that there is a little bit of peening that happens on the back of your bolt carrier tail. So what I've done is I've taken the serial numbered Fox bolt carrier out and replaced it with a bolt carrier from a DDI hammer forged gun. So basically it negates the whole issue of there being peening. So let's see here, I'll get it out. So this is the DDI bolt carrier. There's no issue with this one, interfacing with the hammer, that little part there in the back. So I did that. The head spacing is just fine. It's not an issue. And that way I can preserve my original bolt carrier for, so this gun can stay as good as possible, because I don't want there to be any kind of issues with damaging my AK. And it's just, it was one of the first production guns, and you got to expect some, minor things here and there. It's not a real big issue. The gun will still function. There are machine guns from, Romania that took, 100,000 rounds, and the back of the carrier looks like it's been smacked with a ball-peen hammer. So, so what I've done is, this gun comes with a cold hammer forged, chrome-lined barrel, which is nice. Hey, got some ghosts. Good thing I got a blaster. I'll kill all the ghosts. And got my axe here too. So got my axe. So I'll kill all the ghosts in this house for sure, guys. So let's see here. Is anybody saying anything in the chat? Nobody's saying anything in the chat. Okay. Well, so what I've done is it comes with a set of polymer furniture, and so I've replaced it with this laminate red Timbersmith stock set. It's a laminate wood. For anybody who doesn't know, is basically tell the ghost to be a good thought. See, what's weird is I'm not seeing the chat in my screen. That's the weird part. I can't really see anything. The last thing I see in my chat is that I can see it's not backwards. Protect the environment. The bird has rights. Yeah, so this is weird. I'll figure out what's going on, and I'll work on it. But I just can't really see what's going on in the chat. So if I'll get it figured out, and I'll be able to look. But so anyways, laminate wood furniture basically is a big block of plywood. They smash together, make plywood, and then they mill the part out of it. So the handguard and the upper handguard, the grip, and I don't have the buttstock on yet, because with these Polish AKs from it accepts a Barrel rail. So on your AK, like an AR-15 has all sorts of rail accessories and stuff, scopes you can put on it. But on an AK, you have a side mount right there so that you can get an optic rail over the top of your gun. But the Polish did a really cool thing with their Barrel, and that so okay, I'm looking at my wife's phone here and seeing the buffering, and so you can see everything I do. I just stop talking every time it buffers. So sorry if that's a little annoying. So basically, this whole plate here in the back on the rear tang, it has a nub right there that allows a rail to interface over the top of the gun, and that notch right there, basically there's these forks that stick onto the gun, and you can put a scope up on the top. Because of that buttstock, I have to modify it to allow for that plate in the back right here. So I have a unfinished laminate wood stock that I'm going to be coloring red. So I got this stain here. It's going to be like a blood red stain. I'll go grab the I don't need to. It's like a regular AK buttstock. So that's my project. It'll be cool. I got an East German sling I'm going to be putting on this WBP Fox. Fit and finish on these is great. Again, the AK Operators Union is still deliberating over this whole bolt carrier hammer forged bolt in there. Pretty good trigger. It's an American-made one. I think it's a RAK trigger. And then here's an axe. It's just a cool axe. This is a cold steel Viking hand axe or something. Why they call it a hand axe is beyond me when it's got a 30-inch handle. It is wieldy in one hand. It's not unwieldy, but maybe they mean hand axe as in the smile is a hand wide. Because so the smile of your blade is the curve, and that's like a hand span wide. But it's got a pretty stout beard on the back here, and a good horn up on the top. What's interesting about this axe is it's actually a tomahawk, so it slides down off the back of the handle. These handles are nice wood, but they are not fitted correctly. So you can see when I throw this bad boy on there, there's wobbling. It doesn't fit tight unless I tamp it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new handle. I'll probably not make it 30 inches long. I mean, it's a cool two-handed axe for doing woodwork and whatever, but I'll probably cut it down maybe 10 inches and still make it two-handed, but it's going to be a lot shorter. So, and that's a little bit more wieldy. It gives it a little more oomph for when I thwack into stuff. But yeah, pretty good head. I've got a project with another one of these heads to actually etch a knotwork design into it. So I found out a way you can do electrolysis, electroetching, and etch into the steel. This has a finish, so you can see the edge is carbon steel, and then the steel underneath here has got like this gray matte sort of clear coat on it. Not a clear coat, but like a gray matte finish. It's not just steel. The edges, but the regular, the body of it isn't. So what I have to do is get that stripped off, and then I'm going to use a car battery charger, 12 volt, 1.25 amp, and some salt water, and actually mask off a design of knotwork, Viking style knotwork, or I might do like a Roos pattern, which has dragon stuff, like scales and little triangles and stuff to represent teeth. So again, I'm buffering pretty bad. And I apologize to anybody if buffering annoys. So, I think the book is less about macho space Vikings fighting in outer space against space wizards, and it's more about a man's struggle to cope with his demons, and the effect that good friendship has on when people have personal demons that they need to get over, and they have a hard time doing it. And so there's a lot of H.P. Lovecraft horror, some H.G. Wells influences too. Really good book. I know a lot of Warhammer guys really hate that stuff, so hate that book. They hate Prospero Burns, but I like that book. I think it's there are some kind of cheesy parts, particularly the phrase "wet leopard growl" to describe the way the space wolves talk, because Vikings with fangs and stuff, and they talk and they growl a lot. And wet leopard growl is a phrase that Dan Abnett uses a lot to describe the way they speak. Uses it constantly in the book, and a lot of people take issue with that. I understand, but as far as the structure and the execution, It. Oh, my baby's crying again. Give me 1 minute here. Give me 1 sec. All right, sorry guys. All right, I'm back. So yeah. Oh, and here's sort of a mock-up of what the head will look like. Kind of, your not work. I'll be doing that. Not work back here. Maybe some runes, the triangles, and maybe some dragon tails or something. Just something cool. I've been working on the handle. If you can see that, I'll refinish this handle, maybe in that blood red color. It'd be kind of cool. It'd be like a nice blood red color. But if you can imagine this axe with that etched into it. So that's my plan. And then I'll blue the axe head and give it a clear coat. Yeah, like I was saying, Prospero Burns is a really good book. It's not at all what you think it's going to be about. And then the Space Wolves end up being justified in their persecution of warlocks. You see the sort of crazy, almost conspiracy of the abuse of mystical powers that the Thousand Sons do. It's like they're being accused of it, and they are constantly denying, oh, we're not doing anything wrong, we're serving the Emperor, and yet their planet is infested with demons, probably just like the Space Wolves planet, but the Space Wolves reject chaos, whereas the Thousand Sons end up becoming slaves to it. Again, it's I got some moments in it that are really jarring and really intense. A lot of dream sequences that happen that are shocking, and they culminate at the end into one kind of horror that the climax is intense. I like this book a lot, and a lot of people hate it, but I don't come from the perspective of wanting to see Space Marines fighting each other. I come from, I think Casper Hosser does have a compassionate story. To recap, a bunch of stuff happened today, January 25th in history. And a 10-year-old boy became the second youngest to score 300 in a bowling alley. It's pretty exciting for that kid. I hope he grows up and becomes a professional bowler. Good for you, kid. Here's to you. You're my hero. And then, oh yeah, that hawk in New York, in Williamsburg. So if you're a bird and you ever watch this live stream, just head on over to Williamsburg in New York, because a bunch of hipsters live there, and they're going to just stand around and gawk at you and not do anything while you panic in the middle of a street. They have a bunch of environmentalists that live in Williamsburg, I'm sure, a bunch of vegan hippies, and not any of them are going to do anything to save you. 100 people sit around, and nobody stopped traffic to say, hey, I'm going to kick this bird out of the street so it doesn't get killed. That shows me real conviction on the part of the Williamsburg populace to save their animals. So good on you guys. And what else? Oh yeah, the WBP is coming along. Uh, it's a really cool gun. It's got WBP marks everywhere. Once there's one there. I'll try and. There's a eagle there on the uh, rear sight base. So yeah, this is a really good gun, and I'll keep you updated on the butt stock because that's just kind of a little project. It's going to look very similar in finish to the rest of the redwood. This will just be a nice, pretty gun to shoot, and yeah, that'll do it as far as this live stream goes. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I know two of the people are watching, but there's all together. So, guys or gals, thanks for watching. I'd like to thank my wife for watching the baby while I do this, and she's a saint for mostly staying quiet. And I'd like to thank the Academy for giving me this award. I've worked so hard, and couldn't have done it without women. I couldn't have done it without, we got to punch Nazis, and we can't let hate win. Don't smile at anyone. If you smile at anybody, that you'll get on CNN, and nobody wants to be on CNN. Don't stand there either. If somebody's playing a drum set in front of you, move out of the way. What else? Oh, you guys want me to talk about Big Chungus 4 and 5? So yeah, I heard that EA gave the rights to what was that? What was that company that did that? EA gave Madden and Resident Evil and Big Chungus to, was it Capcom? No. They gave it to Bethesda. Yeah, it was Bethesda. And so I heard that they gave the rights to Madden, Big Chungus, and the sequels to Big Chungus, the whole shebang, and all of the Young Turks video game series. You have like Young Turks 1, Young Turks 2, Big Brown Buffalo, The Last Avenger, Young Turks, Rhinoplasty, and Young Turks 5, I'm Better Than You, or something. EA sold the rights to those franchises. And I don't know what they got. I think they got some bubblegum and like lemonade in return. As payment. All right, am I back? This is kind of a weird, surreal experience. I keep having buffering issues, and sometimes it just kicked me. My wife just walked by, and she gave me a big smile, so that's always good. Rule number, let's say here, sorry, buffer system that we built for ourselves. Our founding fathers wanted men and women to be the exact same thing. They wanted to see man bodies with women heads on top, shaved heads. They wanted, no discernible features of either sex. They wanted androgynous faces on teenage boy bodies, basically. So, rule number 1 for being a man is always make women smile. Never tell women anything they don't want to hear. That's always dangerous because you could get in a lot of trouble. A big example is if you have a let's say you're a clown, like common experiences being like a clown or something. If you don't make women smile and you're a clown, you don't have a job anymore, and that's dangerous. You have to you have to go out and be on your own and um, play Fallout Big Chungus. So uh, it's not applicable to it's not healthy to not make women smile. And that goes especially for your wife. So if you're a clown and you're married, you have to make your clown wife happy. So that's rule number one. Always make women smile. Rule number two is always wash your hands. And no, it's not for what you think. Regardless of what the science says about vaccinations and all sorts of stuff, washing your hands is more to do with your soul than it does with your personal hygiene. You can go months without brushing your teeth, and it'll be okay. You can play basketball and go to the gym for hours and hours and hours and never have to take a shower. But you always have to wash your hands. And the reason why is hands have special significance in the afterlife. If you don't have any hands, it stunts your spiritual growth. And I'm not trying to be offensive to handless people. There are lots of people who just walk around with no hands. I could be one tomorrow. You never know. It's just a crapshoot basically whether or not you're going to keep your hands, but always keep them clean. It says in the book of Ashabajad, hands clean keeps your soul clean, and you don't want your soul dirty because you know who's watching. My wife's peeking around the corner at me suspiciously. Hey honey, you want your phone back? Okay. It's kind of helping me because I don't have like an eye on what's going on. Who's offended? Oh geez, somebody's offended. I'm sorry. The girl Katie. If you want to become a man, just make women smile. That's the easiest thing you can do. Making women smile is the rule number one. Rule number two is always wash your hands. Or, like when warlords chop your hands off, or they say you want long sleeve or short sleeve. They chop long sleeve is they just chop your hand off, and then short sleeve is they chop your whole forearm off. They say that you can actually kill two birds with one stone. One is you can go on welfare. You don't have to work anymore because you don't have any hands. I mean, there are people who work who don't have hands, obviously, but you can say, hey, I need disability because, look, my hands are off now. My hands are gone. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everybody. My hands are just gone. Disappeared. Responsibility being big. I've never been so eager to give up a title as giving up Big Chungus. I know it's a bit of a heavy issue, but really it's dangerous being Big Chungus, especially for that long. There are people who have hands who don't work. Not true. I think if you're alive, you have to work. I would say, realistically, you probably work more if you don't have your hands, because you don't have any way to pick up your spray paint, for instance. You don't have any way to, you can use your feet, so that's one way. And there are a lot of people online who will pay do all sorts of things online with your feet. We won't get into that. You can basically drive with your feet at this point. You can fly planes with your feet. I know that. There's been a no-handed pilot. Um, um, what else? There's gardeners who have no hands. They basically just plant trees with their wrists, and I'm not disparaging handless people. I think everyone is great. There's never been anybody evil or wrong in the world. I think if you hate anyone, you're evil. I think that's a bad thing. Um, it's never a good idea to judge anyone. Judgment's the rule number 3. Don't judge anything. Don't be scrupulous and don't be judgmental. Um, if you judge anything, it will come back and bite you. Because when you point your finger, remember, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you, and then 1 thumb just pointing in the middle of nowhere. Pointing up at Allah. Saying Allahu Akbar. So, you know what I mean? That's the TikTok. So, what was I talking about? Finger guns. No, handless people. So, okay, so always wash your hands. So rule number 1, always make women smile. Rule number 2 is wash your hands. Rule number 3 is, God, I can't remember. Don't forget anything. That's it. Rule number 3 is don't forget anything. So humans they say humans only use 10% of their brain, but I think that's false. I think we use a lot more of our brain. I think what you end up finding is the less of your brain you use, the more you actually end up using in the long run. So what I mean by that is you end up saving brain space by using less right now. So the stupider you are right now, the smarter you'll end up being, at the end of your life, because you don't use all of that. You don't use all of that brain power. You ration it out little by little until the end of your life. Whereas these brain guys, these chemists and controls engineers and astrophysicists and rocket scientists and rocket science deniers. These Neil deGrasse Tyson, even though he's a plagiarist and a fraud. Everybody uses their brain too fast. So what you need to do is use less of your brain now, and then you have a bunch of it later. It's just like saving your money. So don't forget anything. So what I mean by that is the more you think, third law is, so I think I've made my points pretty clear. So make women smile, wash your hands all the time, and don't forget anything. There's 3 rules to live by. What else was I going to talk about? Yeah, this was fun. I think this is a good, healthy thing for me to get my anger out. And I mean, not anger. I'm not an angry person. I'm not an angry person at all. I am very calm. I wouldn't, there's nothing aggressive about me. I'm not angry at all. I think I'm a perfectly psychologically healthy person who, it's all okay. Um, it's all going to be okay. So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to be signing off here because my daughter's got to go to bed. She's a real sweetheart. And on a more serious note, I know a lot of what I've been saying is just a bunch of babble nonsense. And it'll probably make me look like a stupid idiot when I play this back. But my daughter is doing really well. She's had a number of heart surgeries, and it's a strength that I've never seen in anyone other than maybe my wife, because my wife had to go through the experience alongside her. So my daughter's only less than a year old, so she's already had 2 open heart surgeries, and it's been kind of nuts for her. So she's doing really well, and she's a trooper. She bounces in her Johnny jumper all the time. It's good to see. She's got a lot of hair, like a lot of hair. It's weird. So I hope everyone has a good. Somebody said I'm 3 ounces of whoop ass. I take issue with that because I prefer like grams and milliliters of whoop ass. I don't really, you know what I mean? When you have a can, it's kind of hard to do I guess you can do ounces for cans, but I prefer just milliliters or grams. I have a friend named Graham, and so it reminds me of him. What else was I going to say? I guess to sign off my first live stream, a lot of it was serious. A lot of it was really stupid, dumb babbling. But I do want to keep doing live streams. I think it's a lot of fun. This was my first one, so I apologize for if I just am sitting around and not doing much. But I hope it heated up and got a little spicier at the end of it. I've got a lot of projects that I'll keep up with, and I don't know how often I'll be doing live streaming. I want to do it a lot because it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to broadcast out to the world, to the people who put up with listening to an insufferable idiot talk in his gym / studio thing. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thanks again for watching, guys. I didn't mean thanks again for watching, guys, because there's just one guy here. It's not multiple guys. I'm not schizophrenic. The guy behind me is a schizophrenic guy. So I'm not the guy who's a crazy schizophrenic. He is. And he needs to shut his mouth. Ancestors. Shamala, what's up? What's up? What's up, Denny's? What's up? And yeah, thanks again, guys. I don't know how to end this stream. Oh God, I'm in a position of something's really terrible here. I don't know how to end this stream. I'm just gonna put myself in a weird sort of lighting. Let's see how to end this here. I don't want to press the X because I just don't want it to freak out. Does anybody have any experience with live streaming? I know we got a couple people here who are extreme YouTubers. I'm on a mobile phone, so let's see here. I do look good. I know if I saw this in a back alley pretty great. Let's see here. I'll just X out of this. Thanks again for watching. Remember to click subscribe, click the bell notification. Follow me on Twitter, where I don't have an account. Follow me on Instagram, where I maybe have an account. I don't remember. I think my account is The Wolf on Fire on Instagram. Maybe. Not really sure. So I'm not going to Google in the middle of a live stream, sir. So I don't know who just offered that bit of advice. I follow the 3 rules. You know, make women smile, wash your hands all the time, and don't forget anything. And 3 rules. And oh yeah, and get guns. The 4 rules. Fuck.